Welcome to the Reese Report. I'm the mouth of the North, Andrew Reese, and I'm back again. We had our NFL show yesterday with special guest Tony Barbosa talking about his Colts. But today we're back in his lane. We are talking AEW Grand Slam on the road to Toronto. A great show, a pay-per-view level show with an absolutely incredibly amazing crowd that was sold out at Arthur Ashe Stadium. And we will get into that. We're going to start this show. Are you ready, Tony? This is a great show.
Yeah, great. It was a great show yesterday. Couldn't complain.
Guys, this crowd was incredible. Right from the opening tap, like right away, the crowd was into it. You could tell it was very loud at the stadium, much different from the first time where it was a little harder to hear the crowd. But this time you could hear everything. Yeah. So we start off with Chris Jericho taking on Claudio Castagnoli for the ROH title.
Yeah.
Jericho gets a huge cheer along with a crazy sing-along of this song. Again, he's supposed to be heel, but they're treating him like a baby face whenever he comes out. Claudio gets also a very good reaction. So what I wrote down about this match was that it was a good match. Y2J, Jericho's attacked Harry Silken in the crowd, like the ROH owner, to set up a cheap shot on Claudio, which was weird. We had a 19-second giant swing. So 19 rotations from Claudio. Basically, the end of this match was Y2J pulling Eddie Guerrero. He grabbed the bat and attempted to hit Claudio with it. He blocked it. And this was after originally attempting a low blow cheap shot.
Which Claudio blocked it, yeah.
Claudio blocked. Then Claudio counters. Jericho goes into the corner. Then low blows Jericho and gives him the Judas effect with the referee not looking. Shocks the crowd, shocked me. And he gets the 1-2-3 clean. Well, I mean, without a kick out, which was surprising. And you have Chris Jericho as your new ROH champion. I was stunned by this result. Jericho's over. Like, he doesn't need to win the ROH title. He doesn't need to win this match. Claudio's only been there for 5 weeks, for 5 title defenses. He hasn't really been featured on Dynamite. And he's a guy that you really want to push, unlike he was pushed in WWE. So I was shocked by this result. I was a little disappointed with a lot of the results in the show, this being one of them. What did you think of this, Tony? I was shocked by this.
I had the same reaction. I was shocked too. But then I started to think about it. I think this was Tony Khan's move. Basically as a little thank you for being one of the leaders in the locker room with the whole situation that happened backstage. And I think also I think you're gonna see the ROH show coming soon. I think that they wanted to put some name on the title, and a guy with a name on the title and saying, "Hey, come to watch ROH." I think that's why they put it on him.
Yeah,
but
I mean, Claudio
I was surprised.
Yeah, like I understand that point completely. That's how they opened AEW with Jericho as the first AEW champion, followed by Mox. But it's like, man, like you're not freshening up your title scene by repeating champions over and over again. And at some point, you're going to get to a point where like no one else is going to feature as a champion and be successful if you have the same guys winning all the time. This is a problem in WWE right now with Roman Reigns on top for over 2 years. So I think I understand it, but you got to be really careful because you got a lot of talent there and a lot of guys that have not been champion before, and you've got to push some new people. Otherwise, your title scene gets pretty boring. And we'll talk about that later about what I think happens in the main event. But that's it. A shocking result. Jericho then celebrates with the JAS. He did cheat to win, so that gives Claudio an out. And I hope this leads to Claudio being more featured on AEW against guys like Pac and even Wardlow or fighting even Moxley for the world title. The Blackpool Combat Club has been completely stripped of titles, and I'm not even sure they're a group anymore. But we'll see how that works out after we talk about the main event. So now to my moment of the night. Swerve in Our Glory takes on the Acclaim for the tag titles. This was a great match with a lot of heat. Huge boos for Swerve when he came out. Keith Lee was cheered when he first came out, but Swerve was completely booed out of the building. They don't want to hate Keith Lee yet, but they hate Swerve. Man, the ovation for the Acclaimed. It was only second to someone we'll talk about later on who debuted on the show, because that was the loudest cheer that I heard all night. But this was so loud I couldn't even hear the rap. Like I couldn't even hear the first part of the rap. It was so loud. The Acclaimed are extremely over. The rap was secondary to them coming out. It was just like they were just so over here. Billy Gunn, he's as over as the Acclaimed right now just for doing the scissor. They were asking for Scissor Me Daddy right when they got into the ring. Just incredible how over this team is. This was a crowd making tag team, and tonight they got their just results. Keith Lee, like, I really hope they're splitting this tag team up, because Keith Lee he did a hurricanrana today in this match. An incredible feat for a guy of his size and the agility on this man. They really need to feature him more as a singles wrestler. He was great in this match. He did there was a great suicide dive going into the commercial. Max did a suplex on Keith Lee, which was crazy. So Lee then Beals Bowens over the top rope onto the stage, which was painful. That was a crazy move. That's when Lee got booed for the first time. The crowd kind of turned on him when he gave him that a little bit. So that was interesting. Then he gave the crowd a look. Lee has it all. Like Keith Lee has it all. He has the look. He knows how to play the crowd. He can talk, and he's got incredible ability for a big man. They've really got to push him.
Even Taz put him over.
Yeah.
Like there's only one guy he even mentioned that I wrestled that's a little bit agile as Keith Lee, but obviously Keith Lee is a little bit more athletic, and he said it was Bam Bam Bigelow. He compared him to kind of like that Bam Bam Bigelow. So that's a huge shot for Keith Lee, right?
Yes. So later on in the match, Swerve gets the boombox, hits Keith Lee, and they do. I don't know if this was planned, but they did a false finish here where Bowens does a move, does a suplex, and then Max goes for the mic drop and sells his knee like he couldn't jump or something. I don't know if that was a botch or if they just fell down, because the finish came like right after.
The finish came they
maybe like 5 minutes later. About 5 minutes later. Swerve did a stomp from the top rope onto Max. Bowens was then this is where Lee got booed again when he took out Bowens with a shot. Then Lee goes to the top rope, does a backflip that misses. Then we see the spot outside where Swerve goes into Billy. Billy gives him the crotch chop. And then Gunn just gives him boot in the famouser with the referee turn. That's when the finish starts. The crowd gets going, sees it coming. Lee gets thrown out, and then we see the mic drop. And Bowens just getting to keep Lee in time for the three to stop the pin. A huge ovation. It was a great moment. They immediately had the streamers come out. Elation on both sides. You had Gunn come in. They did the scissors before the pin. I still say that this would have been better had it been done at the pay-per-view, because people really believed they had a chance and it was going to happen.
Over
it didn't.
The Acclaimed were. Look over.
I mean, it was more of a foregone conclusion they were going to win this match. Whereas at the pay-per-view, the shock value was better, right? So,
yeah, exactly. It kind of teased that maybe they're not going to win.
Yeah.
And so this match just made it seem like, this is their time, right? So
made sense to do it in New York. Yeah. great moment.
Great moment.
I thought looking at Lee, he was sort of staring at them after that he might attack them, he might do something, but he didn't. Swerve just looked like he was like, I don't know.
Swerve
he was
just
good.
wanted to get out of there.
Yeah, he just wanted to get out of there. I thought we'd see something after the match, but we really didn't. They scissored Billy and they left with the titles. So that was it. Great moment, well deserved. And the Acclaim need to have these titles for a while. And we'll talk later about how they're going to legitimize their championship run, because there's all kinds of teams they haven't faced yet. So this was great. New champs, Tony. I mean, no complaints.
No complaints.
We have the New Age Outlaws, born again.
It was due. It was due. That's all I gotta say. The Acclaimed was due to get the titles, especially in the last, I want to say, 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, there's no hotter tag team. Yeah,
they've been one of the hottest tag teams and one of the most over tag teams.
Yeah,
in the division. So it made sense to have them as the AEW tag team titles, and it's a team. It's an AEW original,
a legit team. Yes,
an AEW original team. So
they need to have these titles for a while. I would not take it off them for a while, and we're going to talk now about FTR in the back right after this. Congratulating the Acclaim, talking about how they've been the #1 contenders for a while, teasing that they were going to face the Acclaimed right away. But then the Gun Club comes in, mocks them, and I assume we'll get a match with the Gun Club and FTR first, before we see the Acclaimed and FTR.
I think the ROH titles will be on the line. You think the ROH titles will be on the line?
Good question. I believe so.
Would you put the ROH titles on the Gun Club?
Wow. Either they're hot on Dark, so maybe. But man, I don't want FTR losing too much, because if they're going to lose to the Acclaimed, right?
No.
I would keep the ROH titles on them, and maybe the IWGP titles can go on the Gun Club.
I don't think the Gun Club will go to the. You got to remember, it's from New Japan. Eventually, they'll lose the IWGP titles.
Yeah.
Eventually,
the AAA titles, right?
The AAA titles. I think they'll lose it to the Lucha Brothers.
I mean, if you want to get the Gun Club on ROH, sure. If that's the plan. But I don't want FTR losing too much. Like, if they're going to lose to the Acclaim, which makes sense because you want to legitimize the Acclaim, that's fine.
I still don't think it's going to happen. I still don't think it's going to happen that soon, though.
No, they got to delay this. FTR should be the last. Like, they should be later on. They should fight some other teams first.
100%.
Then when they have the big match with FTR, where everyone thinks they're going to lose, and they beat FTR, and then they're really hot champions, as hot as they are right now.
Yes.
So we'll see, and maybe the eventual Young Bucks match will happen when they're off suspension. That will be great. So yeah, there's so many opportunities, because they really haven't faced them in major like pay-per-views or TV. So they have all these teams they can take on, and it's fresh. So this was great. This is what I'm talking about. Fresh champions, hot champions, over champions that can now have new feuds. So this is great. We'll see what happens, who they face next. But man, those raps are going to be good. And with Billy Gunn there, it's going to be a New Age Outlaws feel there. So this was so weird. Utah comes out. This was so weird. He comes out for an interview with Tony, and I guess they just wanted to see how he would sound. I mean, he wasn't bad when he did his interview. But MGF immediately interrupts him. He's loudly cheered in New York, as you would expect. Utah then gets booed when he interrupts MGF, which was hilarious. Does a pretty good promo on MGF. Basically, insults him.
But he said, you know what? I don't want to go there. He said, you got engaged. Congratulations, you got engaged. But I don't want to go there. I don't want to. Basically saying, I'm not you. I'm not going digging into personal issues. And it was a good promo by both sides.
He delivered the insult good. He made MGF get mad, and it was actually quite good. Of course, MGF came back and really gave it to him, and MGF, of course, finds a way to get booed. Like no matter how much the crowd wants
No.
this guy to be a baby face, and he's gonna get cheered from now until 2024. But like he finds a way to get booed, and he gets booed again. He pushes Tony, which immediately turns the crowd on
Yeah,
him.
that's exactly.
Easy heat to get on you. He gets booed. Then Utah tries to attack him. All of a sudden, W. Morrissey comes out and just puts his two big hands on Utah and throws him aside. Utah gets knocked out by the Diamond Ring. So clearly, this group is going to be MJF's group with Stokely. He's just using them now. I don't think he's going to be they're probably going to help him, but he's not going to be a part of that group.
I think they're going to. I hope it's like a hired gun.
It's like a hired gun. Yeah.
A group. I hope that's where it goes. I hope he's not part of it. He needs to be his own man again because he's gone through the pinnacle. I don't need him in a group. He doesn't need it.
The best line here was the Regals popping pills line. That's what set off Utah there. There's no limits on MGF promos, let me tell you. He's great. No. So that was that segment. I assume we'll get W. Morrissey against Utah. And then possibly MGF against Utah to sort of delay the chip. Because we'll talk about this later, but we'll get into the MGF later because he was great again later on, and we'll talk more about that when we get to there at that point. This match, Orange Cassidy against Pac for the All Atlantic title. So this feud is based on Pac hating Orange Cassidy, like he's Jim Cornette. Basically, Pac plays the role of a wrestler that acts like Jim Cornette because he hates Orange Cassidy. He hates how his moves. He hates how he is in the ring. He hates the stupid kicks. He hates the pockets, everything. And he basically beats the hell out of him the whole match because he hates him. And then, Orange Cassidy will have hope spots and make you believe he's going to win, but he usually doesn't win. So that's what ends up happening. So Pac, I'll say this about Pac. I've not seen a guy take DDTs better than this guy. He takes DDTs looking like he's dead. Like it looks like his head is planted and he's about he takes the best DDTs I've ever seen. It looks like he's dead and he kicks out. So good on him. The ending. So there was a lot of DDTs. There were some hope spots. There was a orange punch to the outside of the ring. Numerous attempts of the Red Arrow where Orange Cassidy does his usual thing and rolls out of the ring. Frustrating Pac, and Pac gets on the crowd, says claps for cheering. This was the weirdest ending to a match I've seen in a long time. Randomly out of nowhere, Pac goes outside the ring with Orange Cassidy. This was after a run by Orange Cassidy. He grabs the ring hammer, which rings the bell, and just drills Orange Cassidy with it, knocks him out, rolls him into the ring, and pins him. One of the weirdest finishes I've ever seen, but I guess it was meant to make you realize how close Pac was to losing and that they had to cheat to win. We've seen this before with Orange Cassidy, where they cheat to beat him and he's booked like a monster but never wins. What a strange, I guess they want a rematch. This is a strange booking. Are they actually going to book Orange Cassidy to win this title? Like, it sure seems like they're going in that direction.
Tony Khan's very high on him, though.
I know.
And Pac. I know they're very high. He's very high on Orange Cassidy, and I believe he's one of their highest merch. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he is.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So
Punk was up there, obviously. Sting was up there. There's some guys that are up there. Yeah.
Yeah, but I believe that's why and he's had good wins. He's beaten Jericho.
Yeah.
When they had their feud, he has beaten Jericho.
Yeah. He was booked well against Wardlow. Like he's one of the most protected wrestlers in the company, even when he loses.
100%. 100%.
Whether Jim Cornette likes it or not.
And listen, this was a great match.
It was really good.
By any means, it was a great match.
Yeah.
Listen, Orange Cassidy, that's his gimmick. Orange Cassidy can work. I didn't know this. There was a company called Chikara back in the day.
He did work for them. Yes.
He was he worked under a mask in a gimmick. His name was Fire Ant. If you really look at it, those were more high flyer moves. He did more like a lot of stuff off the top rope. So he can work. Obviously the gimmick, that's all a gimmick where what he's doing, the laziness and all that, hands in the pockets, obviously. But he's a good worker. You could tell by the match. So like I said, he can work. His promos are funny. Because of the one-liners. And he's over with the crowd. Like you see how many people are dressed up like Orange Cassidy.
I know with the thumbs up like this.
He's over. I think they want to put a title on him. I think Tony Khan wants to put a title on him.
I mean, the way they booked this match, it's like he's gonna win the rematch. Like like it's just the way Pac looked after he won and what he had to do to win. It's like they're gonna have a rematch and he's gonna win. I liked at the beginning when he took off the glasses, he threw them at Pac just to show a little bit more of a serious side. Not
you
all
knew
the
it
way.
was going to be a serious. You knew it was going to be a little bit of a serious match, right from the beginning, right when he threw the glasses. So, which was good. So I think
it's possible Orange Cassidy takes the title off Pac. Now that'll make Pac look really bad because Pac like, but at the same time, it might just be a time for a change. I mean, you know.
Well, they got the trios title, and it seems like Pac is going to go back heel because it seems like it's such a heelish move.
Yeah. I mean, they made a big deal out of him being the first multi-champion in the company.
Yeah.
So maybe he holds on to it a little while longer, maybe until winter is coming, and then Orange Cassidy surprises him. But we'll see. The first title win in Orange Cassidy will get as big a pop as the Acclaim got. So that will be a big deal if he actually wins. So
that's for sure.
Because he's come close numerous times and multiple title shots, has never won. So when he does actually win, it'll be big. So we'll see. There's something's going on there. We'll see. To a match that I had zero interest in at all until the end. But I'm going to go through this because I was so annoyed with this match until I realized what was happening afterwards. I was talking to Barbosa about this during the match. I was annoyed. So we have DMD, Deeb, Athena, and Storm for the women's interim championship. Makes no sense at all that Hayter's not in this match because she had a pinfall in the last match that was cost Baker the win. So my guess was she was going to come in and cost Baker the match so that you continue to feud, and they have this big match coming up at a pay-per-view where Winter is coming. That did not happen, folks. I'll start off with Deeb looking really cool in the match. She always seems to work great and look good in the match, but she just, I guess, doesn't have the personality. So she's the professor, and they're never really going to push her anything more than that.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it sucked for her, but I guess that's just what she's like. Natalia. She's the Natalia of AEW. She did this wicked double pin attempt where both women were backwards and she landed on top of them. That was awesome. I thought that was great. Got a 2 count. Athena, who I'm going to talk about her, just totally lost in the shuffle in this match. She did a double fall away slam. Like, she's a short woman with huge legs. She reminds me of Serena Williams, just a very powerful woman who can move, has great move sets, has a great look with the scary eyes. Like, there's so much you can do with this woman, but boy, did she get lost in the shuffle here. This was a terrible finish. So Storm ends up winning the match. I don't even remember. She got a roll up, like just a random roll up on Britt Baker.
On Britt Baker.
For the second time, she pinned Britt Baker. Like, I don't know what they're doing with Britt either. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So then they beat up Storm after the match. And everyone's beating up. And Hayter comes out, stares at her, and then starts beating up on Athena. And I'm like, why?
No, Tony Storm.
Or Tony Storm. And I'm like, why did you? It was like, oh, and then you hear it on the screen. This is my best friend. This is my best friend. This made zero sense to me. Why would you go back to this?
You know what? I think they're gonna do. Remember the whole storyline of Adam Page and Kenny Omega?
Yes.
You see how they teased it, and then they went back to being the tag team.
Yes.
And they build it for a year long, right?
I don't think they can do that with them.
Why not?
It's already been almost a year. Like
no.
Well, it's been 6 months.
But teasing the tension. It's only been like a few months teasing the tension.
But I think
have it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And then next year at their which one's first? I don't know if it's all in.
I think All Out is next, right? Is that no? What's next? Full Gear is next.
Full Gear is a Full Gear.
Yeah, Full Gear.
Why not save it for a big pay-per-view like they did? They don't need a title anyway.
Yeah, but you know what, Tony? There's only so long you can do that before people don't care.
True.
Right. Yeah. And the women's division is already dull as it is, and now we're gonna get to why this happened. But yes.
But this is the thing. Just in this thing, who are you gonna turn face? Hayter or Britt Baker?
Well, Hayter's getting cheered already. So like you had a chance to make another babyface stud here. People seem to really like Hayter, and Britt sort of going back and forth, and she's getting more boos now because maybe they're a little bit sick of her. Baker's lost a lot recently, right? Like she's getting pinned a lot. So maybe they just wanted to build up Britt a little bit more before they turn Hayter. But now to understand why this happened. Yeah. This is all a setup for Saraya to come out. Saraya, who everyone knows is Paige from WWE, a massive. This was the loudest ovation of the night. For people that don't know, she's been out of wrestling for years because she had 2 serious neck injuries that both required surgery. This is a massive return. Now,
and WWE, they want to take the risk.
Right. WWE did not want to let her wrestle. Clearly, she was cleared, or Tony is willing to let her wrestle or try it out. But this is great for her, and it's great for the company and for us fans. But if you're those women who basically walked out of the ring when they saw her as if she was this starry monster that no one wanted to go near or attack, and they just had all shocked looks on their faces. If I'm those women, I'm like, wow, I just got buried. Athena was a complete afterthought after this. She's nobody now because Paige is going to take her spotlight now. Ruby Soho might as well not even come back. You've got all those men just staring at her, and she's towering over them as the queen of the division before she's even at a match. So in bringing her back, you got the pop, you got the great reaction, and you got a huge return that you can't screw up. But you also buried your whole roster. And in the meantime, Toni Storm, your women's champion, was out there staring. Like, what? So the only answer I have to this, and I said this before, if you're going to make all those women do that, she's going to beat Jade, because that's the only person that wasn't there that wasn't running away. So where do you think this goes? Obviously, this is a huge return that they can't screw up. This is one of the biggest comeback stories in wrestling. So she's got to be pushed right away, and she's got to be pushed to the moon. And in the moon right now is Jade. Everybody else is in the eclipse. So Tony, what do you do with Saraya?
You can't have her face Jade. I'll tell you why.
Well, after some matches, you can't just have her face Jade right away.
Even that doesn't make sense. You're gonna bury the women's title. The women's title is gonna mean nothing.
But the women's title already means nothing and is already buried.
You want to mean something? Put it on her.
They got to have the rematch with Thunder Rosa. That's number
one. Don't worry about Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. What's going to be the biggest match you want right now? It's going to be Thunderstorm and Saraya. Thunderstorm is going to be the heel. Trust me. That's how you do it.
I don't think that's going to be anything.
Jade, like you're gonna if she's gonna
Storm is such a dull champion right now. She has no
heat. I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You wanna put the onus back on the women's title, not the TBS title. Yeah. You give it to her.
But Tony's not going to bury Toni Storm this quickly. I don't think that's going to happen. He likes to.
Why not? She's already been. When you think of the women's division, you don't think of the title. The title's meaningless.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. You put it on
what
her.
Title do I think of? I think of the TBS title. That's the title I think.
See, but that's wrong. You can't think of the TBS over the women's title.
I know.
It just it looks so bad on the company.
Yeah.
You want to have your woman's title, the bigger title, the title that means the most.
Yeah.
Put it on her.
Yep.
That's what WWE did with her with the Divas title. She came in on her first night.
Yeah.
She got and man, she was a nobody, and she got the loudest pop.
Yeah.
After WrestleMania, and they did it at a perfect time.
Yeah.
So do it again.
I don't think they're gonna have her win right away. I think they can't screw this up. Either they build her up because she's coming back and she needs some matches, and you build her up like that, sort of like when CM Punk came back. I don't think you put her in the ring right away with the champ, beat the champ, because that'll make your division look even worse. She's got to struggle to get to the title. Yeah.
Yeah,
and you got to share her story. She's got to do promos. Yeah.
With Jade Cargill is gonna have to be like to take the TBS title.
But who else beats her though? Like the only person that I can think of that entire company that could beat, 9 months down the road. Sure, I mean,
have Athena win a couple more matches and be like, she finally did it.
Well, she's beaten Athena twice.
Is it twice already?
Yeah. Ooh. Like Athena's done. Like she basically buried Athena just by showing up. Like, what do you do with Athena now? I mean, she lost again in another title match, and then Saraya comes out, and it's like she's just the forgotten woman, the forgotten angel. Oh my God, the forgotten angel.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's right.
The fallen angel. Yeah,
the fallen angel. Look, we'll see what happens. I hope they can't screw this up. That's the main thing. You can't screw this up.
I hope so too.
I mean, you can't get any bigger than this comeback. So we'll see what happens. But I was very happy to see Paige. I'm a big fan. I love Paige. So
huge fan.
I can't wait to see what they do with her. I sort of, my feed kind of went out here, but when it came back, I saw Darby in a car heading to a funeral.
Just a weird.
What the hell was this? Yeah.
It was, they were heading to
Rampage, right? Yeah. So there is a 2-hour Rampage, by the way, which I'll probably try to watch because there'll be some interesting stuff on there because it's part of Grand Slam. But we won't review it. But we'll watch that after. To the main event. This is gonna frustrate me.
Which I called.
Yeah, Mox takes on Brian. This whole match was about the camera showing MGF laughing in the crowd. MGF is so good. He's such a heel. He's laughing in the crowd. He's doing little claps for every move. He's smirking when they hurt each other. He's just so great. He's so great. That was one of the highlights of the match. The match was great, by the way. These two are awesome. Brutal. Just hitting each other with kicks and punches and chops and just insane moves. They got suplexes off the apron. Danielson doing his crazy knee. He dominated most of the first part of this match. Mox doing his Hulk Hogan routine, Steve Austin routine as he's in the ring, trying to not sell everything. So I'll just get to the end of this. Brian just kicks out of the Death Rider twice. So they did try to book him strong here, but then there was a reversal off the top rope. Brian tried to do the $1 Million Dream reversal, but Mox rolls over into it. He gets out of it the first time, rolls over again, and then knocks out Brian. So Mox wins the title, but I found it interesting that right after he won, they had to really go to end the show after this. He gets up. They kind of didn't give him the belt right away, but if you watch right towards the end, Brian gets up and immediately gets up and says, "What happened? Why did I lose?" Goes to the ref, says, "I didn't give up." So they tease that the ref stopped this too soon. So I'm curious where this goes. MGF did not come down to use his chip like Jose
Which
thought.
Is perfect,
right?
Yeah, no. I don't think the whole chip thing is in regards to.
It's not a Money in the Bank.
Yeah, it's not a Money in the Bank. It's just saying he's the number 1 contender.
Yeah,
but
MJF beating Mox clean will be a tough sell. But we'll see. He's gonna have to cheat to win. There's no question he's gonna have to cheat to win.
Unless they do that, because on Rampage there is some sort of battle royal.
Yes, so that's why Moxley. We have to watch that to see what happens. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But they made it
yeah,
seem like he could come at any time to cash this in. It felt like it was going to be a Money in the Bank
that's what I'm
situation,
saying. I think
right?
they might use that as their they might use this for this chip, especially for him.
Yeah.
That's what they might use.
Yeah.
So you don't make Moxie look weak either.
Yes. Because he
So
said,
we'll
like, I
see.
can use it anytime I want. Like, he said it multiple times. So they're
Yeah,
giving you the
yeah,
impression that this is a Money in the Bank situation. I could
yeah,
see his group that he hired just giving him 5 finishers and then he comes in and wins. Like, I could see that
yeah.
happening. That's why he hired that group of people. So we'll see where it goes. I was underwhelmed by this. I understand that Mox is no longer on vacation, and they gave him the title for that incredible promo, and he earned it. But I'm a little bored by the title scene right now. Having Mox win the third time in a matter of 3 months doesn't really freshen up the title scene. I've seen Mox fight everybody for the title, so that it's just you're repeating this guy as champion until you're ready to give it to
Well,
MJF.
that's why I never really liked it when Punk won the title, to tell you the honest truth.
Yeah, but they
Because
were
they
going
should
to
have
go
just.
with Punk. They were going to go with Punk as champion.
I don't think. See, the injuries were too crazy.
Yeah,
It
like
kind of
Mox was
lost
going to
steam.
leave, and Punk was going to have the title for a while.
Yeah,
That was going to
that
happen.
was the whole plan.
Yeah.
And the whole plan obviously was MJF and Punk. That was going to
Yeah.
be the program. That was going to be the lead up.
Yeah.
How things changed.
Yeah.
How things changed.
Yeah.
Because I was very intrigued with what the MJF and CM Punk feud was going to look like.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind that Mox won. I wanted Brian to win this
I
because
know.
Brian's lost every big match he's been in. If you go back and look,
but if you see the promo,
booking him like this is bad,
But you see the promo that he cut before the match.
Yeah.
He goes, every person that I lost, I avenged that loss with a win. So he's talking about the loss he had to Hangman Page.
Yeah.
Beat him.
Yeah.
The loss to Daniel Garcia, beat him, and the loss to Chris Jericho, beat him in the semifinals.
That's why I thought Brian would win this match, because he already lost to Mox before the Blackpool Combat Club got formed, but that didn't happen. And so if you keep booking Brian to lose big matches, he's really going to lose his luster. And he was already losing his luster, losing all these matches to all these people. But I think Brian's just one of those guys who wants to put other people over. But at some point, he's going to have to win this title just because he's so damn good. And
how good would it be for him to be the one to beat MJF for the title?
Oh boy, I think when you give MJF this title, he's gonna have to have it for a while.
No, I'm not saying he's gonna have it for a while.
And then maybe 2024 when he wants to leave.
Why not be Bryan Danielson?
Yeah.
Or you could even have Danielson win the ROH title, because he's held it before. There's that.
Him and Jericho again. Wow, I can't see that happening.
I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen very soon, but he's gonna have to have a world title for sure.
So Tony, I got a question for you now. What did they do with Brian? And like, what do they do with Mox until the inevitable MJF match, which could be at Winter's Coming, it could be at Full Gear? What do you do with Brian? What do you do with Mox? And do you break up the Blackpool Combat Club?
I hope not. I hope they don't break up the Blackpool Combat Club. But I something tells me that's where it's headed.
Do you do a rematch? Because the way Brian got up and protested, it sure looked like he didn't think he lost that match.
Maybe you do the rematch down the road instead of have MJF just like
Mox has beaten everybody.
Anytime.
Like, who do you put Mox up other than MJF, who he's already beaten in the past, but it's been a while, so you don't remember. It's like, who Mox has beaten everybody. Who do you put him up against? Claudio? He just lost, so not him. Like, there isn't anybody else he's beaten everybody. So what do you do with him?
Picking any challengers.
And then Brian, like,
The
he
only
loses
other
again.
person,
So what do you do with Brian?
the one person, man, okay. If you guys don't want to hear spoilers, what I read online, I know because they taped Rampage also.
Okay.
I'll just tell you this: the winner of the battle royal was Hangman Page. So that's who Moxley is fighting next.
Of course, that makes sense because Tony would want him to be back in that after the whole CM Punk thing. It's like, I get it. It's just like, man, you can't keep pushing your
has
boys.
He faced Mox? Has he faced Moxley for the title? I don't think so.
I don't think Mox faced him when he had the title.
And I don't think he faced Mox for the title because he hasn't had a title rematch.
No,
ever since he lost it.
No, and I guess that's just reward for the whole Punk things. But it's like, man, does it not feel like it's recycled? It's like, man, like it's the same guys fighting on top, and it's like, man, you really got to freshen that up. Like, yeah, I guess they're going to Hangman Page. Okay,
who are you gonna give a title shot to now?
Well, they had Claudio lose, so his push is over for now.
That's the thing. You're fighting again another guy from the Combat Club.
Powerhouse is not ready. Miro is MIA.
I don't.
Brody King is still with the House of Black. Darby has not won a match in a long time, although he beat Matt Hardy on Rampage the other day.
Darby.
There's just they haven't done a good job of booking challengers. They really haven't. Their focus has been on 4 guys for the entire summer, and it's hurt your underneath guys. Like even a Jungle Boy, for example, he's sort of in limbo right now because of Christian's injury, so they couldn't move him forward. Sammy got destroyed by Moxley. He was one of the 4 pillars. Eddie Kingston, who's like Mox's best friend, he hasn't won a match in a while. It's like you can't, he's hot, but you can't have him face Mox. So there's so many guys that he's already beaten or that you can't, that aren't ready to face him. And it's like, he's just going to hold the title. And the only match anyone's going to want is MJF, so I just think if you had given it to Brian, it would have been a lot more interesting. But I guess they didn't want Brian losing to MJF so quickly afterwards. But it's the same thing with Mox. When Mox loses to MJF, it'll be the 3rd consecutive time he's lost the title. I don't think that makes Mox look good either. So it's like, either way, if Max is going to win the title, just have him win the title.
They should have done it. They should have done it maybe yesterday. Maybe they should have done it at the cash-in maybe yesterday. So like in the middle of the match.
Clearly, Max is not going to cash this in for a while because the original plan was that Punk was going to win the title and was going to have it for a while, and the whole storyline would be you'll never know when the devil will get you. That was the storyline. You could tell at the end of that pay-per-view, the devil's back. You never know when he's going to come to get you. So Punk was going to have it for a while. He was going to defend it for a while, and then MJF was going to get him one day like a snake. But you can't do that with Mox. It's a different story. So.
You can still build it because you can still build their story. You can still build their rivalry.
Yeah.
You can still do it. MJF is good enough. So is Moxley.
Yeah,
they're both good enough performers to do it. So
I guess you could have Mox's group attack him every week. You could anytime they see him in the ring, you can have his group attack him. To soften him up. Because the way they've been booked, you would never believe that MJF would beat Mox without help. Mox is not like MJF's not beating him clean.
I have a feeling he's gonna have to go through not have to, but he's gonna go through the Blackpool Combat Club. He's gonna beat everybody.
Oh wow!
It makes sense. It makes sense. Like the way they did it started with Yuta.
Yeah, but that's they'll have a match. That's a baby face angle though. That's not a heel angle. He already said I'm not gonna face anybody. I'm gonna have one match and I'm gonna steal a title.
But that's a heel. Sure, you can turn it into a heel angle. He's like, I beat everybody in your group. Mm-hmm. You're the only one that's left, and it's only a matter of time. You can turn it into a heel situation. 100%.
Yeah. And clearly Mox is a heel because MJF is a heel because Mox is the biggest babyface in the company. And Mox, he'll get cheers, but he's definitely the heel in that match. So he's not going to be a face anytime soon. But
no,
I just don't like, to me, like all these titles are uninteresting right now. Every single one of them.
You know why? I'll tell you why. There's too many
Except
titles.
for the tag titles.
There's too many titles.
Yeah.
There's too many titles on AEW television.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest problem with WWE back when the whole invasion type of thing happened
in
around
the 2000s.
That era.
Yes.
Yeah, that was their biggest problems. They had way too many titles.
Yeah.
So that's why it once you had that way too many titles, because it seems like every match there's a title involved, and it just doesn't have that. You know what I mean? It doesn't have that. Yeah, it doesn't have that.
Like Wardlow is having another tag match. Like they have no idea how to book him as TNT champion, and they don't want him to beat everybody, and so he's in tag matches all the time because they don't know who to put him in the ring with. Like it's terrible. And then the same thing with Mox. You've had Mox beat everybody. There's no opponent that's believable that will actually have a chance against him. So anyone he faces is either already beaten or is a huge favorite to beat, which makes the title matches boring until he faces MJF. So you have a bunch of titles that are not interesting right now because of the way they've been booked. Right? Yeah. Which means someone like, to get Saraya over, you've got to make her have a big impact early on against someone important, aka Jade. Now you don't have to have her face Jade right away, but you have to tease that she's going after Jade. That has to be the tease. Like,
it just cheapens the women's title. The women's title is going to mean nothing. You're just going to bury the women's title just like that.
Well, the women's title has been booked poorly. So even if Saraya wins it, like
the TBS title,
yeah,
it just makes that woman's title look a lot less. You think that's bad now? Wait, if that was to happen, that woman's title you might as well just scrap it. Scrap the woman's title.
I mean, it's already at that. Like as soon as Britt lost it, it completely lost its luster, and Jade has been booked like a monster. And so if you want someone to beat the monster, Saraya is the only person that can do it. There's nobody else in the company that can do it.
I think it's wrong. I just think it's wrong. If you want to save this women's division, that's not the way to go. I don't think that's the way to go.
Who do you put Saraya against first? Like what do you do with her to start?
And you grab one of those girls from Dark Elevation and have her.
See, I wouldn't want her to start. You got to understand, this is one of the biggest comebacks ever. Like the only comeback that's bigger is Bryan's comeback, which WWE completely screwed up by putting him in the ring against Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. One of the worst feuds and comeback stories they completely screwed up his return. He never got back to that level where he was going to be a main event champion.
Or if you really want to get going, but you're asking trouble to do this, you're going to bury Britt Baker. Is go right to Britt Baker.
But see, I would have said, sure. The problem is Britt's getting beat by everybody right now. She's been pinned like 3 or 4 times in a row. So her luster is not as big as it was before. And so the problem with Saraya is you can have her beat everybody, but nobody has the impact like Jade. Like if you see what I'm trying to say, like there's nobody else that she beats that anyone's going to care about.
I get it, but it's just going to make the women's title mean a lot less than it is now.
How about this? If you have her beat, maybe you should have her beat everybody and Jade. So like you have her win the women's title and then have her beat Jade too.
Have 2 titles?
I mean, to make that more interesting,
you have that Roman Reign effect, though. You have the Roman Reign effect. Yes, 2 titles.
To me, if you're telling this story, right, and I understand your point about Jade, but if you're telling this story and you have one of the biggest comebacks ever for one of the biggest wrestling stars ever, okay, and she's coming back after 4 years, what better story to tell that you have to climb the mountain to beat the monster, the undefeated monster, than with a
So
superstar who got hurt with a neck injury. This story is perfect for her to come back and beat Jade.
I'll tell you this. You want to do it, right?
Yeah.
Have a tournament. Have a tournament for a #1 contender.
Okay.
Let her go through that.
And tell her as an underdog story, or tell her as, because the way they did it, like, they made her seem like she was bigger than everybody who was in that ring. So she doesn't come across as an underdog, right?
Yeah, you don't have to have her come across as an underdog.
Right.
But she has to be put through the ringer. You know what I'm saying?
She has to show, okay, my neck still hurts. They can attack my neck. They can make me suffer, right? Right.
Yeah, you can sell that story.
Yeah.
And then have her face Toni Storm. By that time, I still think Toni Storm should be a heel. That's my opinion. Her or Thunder Rosa.
I don't even know what Toni Storm is. What is she? Like, she has no character. She has no interest. I think the crowd kind of boos her, cheers her because she's hot. But it's not like anybody cares when she's in the ring. It was so quiet during that match, Tony. Well, the whole match, it was so quiet. Nobody cared.
Tony Khan doesn't. Besides Britt Baker and Jade, Tony Khan doesn't. Every other woman, you don't know their story. You don't know.
No, that's a big problem.
You don't have a character that's in the only characters you really have in the women's division: Britt Baker and Jade.
He says he likes Toni Storm, but I know nothing about this woman.
But you don't. There's not a story. There's not a background.
No.
Why do you like her? Why this? Why that? Why is she be? There's none of that. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, same thing with division. Yeah. I mean, and he doesn't, he's already stated he doesn't like women doing long promos, so they can't tell their story either. Right. And he's not going to spend time on them either.
And then what's the
listen, man? Look, he cannot screw up Saraya, because I know he must have paid a fortune for this girl. Like, he cannot screw this up.
Listen, look at Hunter, what he did with the women's division in a matter of 2 months. Just look at it.
I know they have better stars over there, though. I think better wrestlers over there.
Just look how he turned, what he did with Bailey when the way she came back with what's her face, Io Sky and Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
See how he did it.
Yeah, they're talented. They're talented women. Yeah,
but that's how but he has talented women, but you don't build them. Like Julia Hart. Why did she turn? Why was she in the House of Black? Why?
I have no idea.
There's no reason. She just she went to the House of Black.
Like they had an opportunity to do something with her, and it's like,
with her,
yeah, they really did.
She could have been one of the biggest heels, but I don't know what the hell. I don't understand what Tony Khan does with that.
What I'll say, I'll end it with this. So they got the huge reaction. It's a massive comeback. It's a great story. He can't screw this up. Like, you can't put her at a level where she's with everybody else that's already been buried. AKA Athena, Ruby Soho, anyone else who's come over from WWE, Toni Storm even. Like, they're all here at this level. Saraya is up here, and she's been up here her whole career, and now you have a story about a huge comeback after so many years away. You can't screw this up.
Yeah,
you have to keep her. You have to keep her up here, tell that story, and not allow her to get down here like everybody else. And the only way you do that, to me, is you tell her story and you have her struggle through that's her comeback, and then have her beat the monster. And the only monster in this company is Jade. Her beating anybody else is not going to matter. She's got to beat the monster who's undefeated. That's how you make her the biggest star in wrestling again. The story tells itself. No one's beaten Jade. No one can beat her. There's no one in the company that she hasn't beaten. And then Saraya comes back out of nowhere out of nowhere and beats her. That's the story.
Then you might as well just throw the women's title in the garbage.
Well, what you can do after that is you can have Jade beat everybody else and win the women's title.
it's not gonna mean. I'm telling you right now, it won't mean nothing. It will not mean nothing.
If it's not Saraya, who beats Jade? Who beats Jade if not her?
If Saraya beats Jade before she becomes the women's champion, throw it in the garbage. It will mean nothing.
Let's say I agree with you. Who beats Jade? Name another person that can beat Jade other than her.
Tony Khan didn't do a good enough job of building the stars.
Right? You already blew it with Athena. Athena's lost to her twice, right? Ruby Soho's lost to her. There's nobody else with that stature, with that star ability, that story. Like, and it'll help Jade. To me, if she loses to it will help Jade. Only way it'll put Jade at a higher level as well.
I'll tell you this. I like your theory. Sorry, there's another theory for you.
Okay.
Like you said before about Jamie Hayter. Okay. Eventually, when she turns face, that's who you want to make a star. There you go.
They've already blown that though by making her rejoin Britt. So
no, that's what I'm saying. You let Jade get to 50, 60, whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
Have her turn, whatever, go through the Britt Baker feud, and then have Jamie Hayter be the one to beat her. Oh my God. You want to build a star? There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But as I said, like you could have had Britt and Hayter face each other and have Hayter try to overcome Britt and finally beat her, and you make a star out of that. Right?
Well, but that's why it makes.
But name a bigger match. Name a bigger match that Saraya can have other than Jade.
Britt Baker.
Now?
I wouldn't say now. I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen in a month.
No. What I mean is that match as big now as it would have been a year ago. Like they haven't booked Britt Baker strong at all. She's getting beat by everybody.
But she still looks strong though, because of.
I mean, she got rolled up by Toni Storm. Like the way she's getting beat, she's being beat so easily by multiple women. It's just like that match is not the same as it would have been.
Well,
although I'll say the promos will be good. The promos will be good.
You can spin it and say she was distracted by the other women. You can always spin it.
You know what I do, Tony? I let's say I go with your theory. She faces Britt Baker first. That's her first match.
Her first major feud.
Her first major match. Yeah. Her first major feud with Britt. And she wins after Hayter screws Britt.
Yeah.
Then you have Saraya getting a win, and you have the Britt Hayter angle at the same time.
Or you can even have Saraya be like, hey, what are you doing? Why are you listening to her?
You could do the Daniel Bryan Garcia thing. Yeah.
Yeah, why are you listening to her? You're too talented to be her lapdog, whatever, however you want to spin it.
Yeah.
Just have her like that, right? You're saying, oh, we're both from the same cloth. We come from the side of the world.
I could see her manipulating people. I could see that.
And then that's when she turns on Britt Baker. And to me, you want to make a star because obviously the women's division doesn't have that many stars.
No.
That's how you build one of them. Then you see James Hayter be a huge star.
Yeah, I mean, other than the tag titles, this was the biggest story coming out of this show. Like, I mean, what they do with her will be one of the more interesting stories in the next few months. So I'm very happy to see her back. As you can tell, we talked about her more than anything because she got a huge ovation. To me, it's one of the biggest returns in wrestling. Like,
I'll tell you this:
people don't understand how popular she was.
I had goosebumps.
Absolutely.
I was like, oh my God! I was surprised. I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming. I knew there was rumblings out there.
There were rumblings, yeah.
But man, there was no rumors of her showing up this early or even at this event. But I was like, whoa.
For people who don't know, her just walking in already makes her a bigger star than everybody in the company. Like she can talk, she can wrestle. Like
just when her name appeared across the screen, everybody knew. It was like, what a huge ovation.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I did find it interesting. It was interesting. They all just stared at her. They let her have her moment. Nobody attacked her. It was very interesting. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I think Britt
Dynamite
might be the
good
first.
next week.
Yeah, I think Britt might be the first to go at her because we know Saraya can talk, and she's going to need a verbal partner, and the only one who can do that is Britt. So I could see them putting her against Britt. Britt being the heel and Saraya being a massive baby face, and they go at it for a while with then Jamie Hayter turning on Britt. I could see that because that would be the only interesting thing you can do because they have to have the Toni Storm Thunder Rosa rematch, unfortunately. So, yeah. And Athena, I'm so sorry. Someone buried your wings. It wasn't me. Blame Toni, okay? Sorry.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you should tag up with Ruby and see if you can get something done with her. You know, it's not looking good. So, yeah, Tony's got to stop treating the women's division like a bunch of toys that he really likes and actually start pushing them like they're real stars.
You know, at one point there was pretty good. It was a pretty good division when they had Sheeta and what's her
you know
face,
what, Tony? I'm going to disagree. I don't think it's ever been a good division. I think they've really struggled making stars out of this division, other than Jade, of course, and Jade and Britt. Yeah.
Well, Britt Baker was at one point, she was probably the hottest thing in AEW.
And Britt sort of made herself. Like, if you remember, Tony wanted her to be a baby face, and she failed miserably as a baby face. It was Jade that turned around and did the Tony Schiavone thing and started doing heelish promos and pretty much got herself over. And Jade was the one that was pushed by Tony more than anybody, and you know, pushed like Goldberg. And if you look at it, the only two stars right now are those two. There's nobody else. To me, Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa they've never hit it off as top stars. So we'll see.
And you could have with Thunder Rosa, especially after the match that she had with Britt Baker.
Yeah.
Tony Khan could have pushed them a little bit more, but
yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. We went a little bit long there with the end because that return was one of the more interesting returns and big pops we've heard in a long, long time. So we'll see what happens next week on Dynamite. If we see anything crazy on Rampage, we'll let you know, and we'll talk about it next week. As you know, we now know that Hangman has won the Battle Royal, so that'll be the next opponent for Mox. But we'll check it out. There's some interesting matches on there. So until next week, hopefully we get Jose back. He's probably sleeping on his couch somewhere. This is Tony Barbosa. I'm the Mouth of the North, AndrEW. We'll see you next week on the Reese Report.